Hi everyone, it's Fifi, and I got this magazine finally, so I wanted to make a video about this because this is the first magazine released since Xiao Zhan had to go through all of that stuff. However, as a fandom, we've agreed to not reveal any of the information in this in case antis take it and try to misinterpret it purposely or to somehow twist his words. But I still wanted to share this information with people who might not have been able to buy it or can't understand it. So I'll just kind of read through it and share my reaction and what I feel, and also translate some parts that I think are important or worth sharing. So first, this is not a fashion or entertainment magazine. It's a much more serious thing. Oh, this is the poster. They folded it so that the crease isn't on his face. That's beautiful. To give you an idea of what this magazine is like, here are what the other articles are like. Like, these are the other people who are interviewed for this magazine. So this is definitely on a different level or facing a different audience than your typical magazine with idols on it. So all the pictures here are old ones, so I can share them just so we can see his beautiful face again. I love this picture. I love this outfit. I love this performance. Okay. Anyway, back to the serious stuff. So this is the cover. The title says, Xiao Zhan learning to coexist with different types of voices. And the white words here, giving people with different voices space and freedom is also a type of respect. So the first one is titled Whirlpool or Vortex, and it's about how he feels like being an idol, kind of. He understands that it's normal for public figures to be criticized and like have people discuss or gossip about them, but he feels like it's not fair when this like discussion affects his friends and family. He also said that in another interview. But as time passed, he calmed down more and he tried to learn how to coexist with different voices. And he feels like allowing different voices to exist is a type of respect. Okay, the second part is titled Unplanned, I guess. It's mostly about his background before he became a celebrity. So it talks about like how when he was in university, he won all these awards, he started a design studio with his friends, and one sentence that caught my eye is that he completed his bachelor's degree and has a certain amount of knowledge and education. And I guess they just wanted to show that he's different from most celebrities in terms of past experiences, because he basically, for more than half of his life, he was just a regular person before he was thrown into showbiz. Before he became famous and had so many fans, he once had a Weibo post called The Secret Garden, where the fans would leave just random messages whenever they wanted. It was kind of like the secret diary place. But he turned off the comments and stuff, and it also disappeared because you can only see the past 6 months of his Weibo now, because a lot of haters took over that post and started commenting hate. So, fuck them. The third section is about becoming famous, basically talking about Ling and such. It mentions in another interview where he looked back on 2019, he said, no amount of words can describe his 2019, but so he just wants to say thank you. He's grateful for everything that he experienced and received. Next is the Q&A part with Xiao Zhan. So the reporter asked what was he busy with during the coronavirus lockdown part. He says that he was in quarantine, self-quarantine at home, just like everyone else, and he paid attention to the news and was touched by the doctors and nurses and all their work, and he wanted to do something, so he discussed with his staff, and they decided to do charity and donations. He also recorded some videos and a song. He felt like a person's abilities are limited, and he felt that he was doing too little. I'm gonna skip the parts where he said things that were similar to the other interview where I subbed. The question, he once said that to survive in society, you have to be complex. Xiao Zhan says, being complex is something that is certain, and he doesn't think anything is wrong with that. Faced with this complex environment, there's no way we can force it to change. So as long as you can preserve your kindness and purity, and just try your best to do what you believe in, that's his bottom line and what he lives by. And the question, being an artist, an idol, what do you think is the most tiring or troublesome? He said, every industry or career has their own troubles. So if you take your job seriously, tiring or troubling work is unavoidable. But if he has to say one thing, then it must be how to face this complex environment. And the question is, what do you think is the relationship between people on stage and backstage? And he says it's not a relationship, but more of a distribution of work. That reminds me of how he says that he doesn't like to think of managing his fans because he feels that we're on the same level instead of a hierarchy. This is such a nice picture. His ears make him look like an elf, a forest elf. What do you think of the role Wei Wuxian? He says that he's really grateful that he could take a part in Wei Wuxian's life, and it will forever be a really important part of his own life. And a lot of people said that his life now is like Wei Wuxian's life. But rather than saying that, I think it's more that 魔道祖师, the novel, and 陈情令, the drama, they're both very realistic. And basically, if you become successful but you go against the mainstream, then they will try to take you down. Question, are you afraid? Would you be afraid of the uncertainties in life? And he says, of course. Life is full of many uncertainties, and sometimes he would feel unsafe. A lot of times he would feel unsafe or insecure. But the unknown is life's biggest challenge. So he says it feels nice to just go and take it on as it comes. You once said that communication is important, but now that you're so famous, does that bring any difficulties to communication? And Xiao Zhan says, the change in identity has indeed brought along a lot of problems, but his communication with his family and friends are still the same. And as for fans, he thinks that he communicates through his works, and yeah. So I like how he makes it clear that fans are not his friends and family, because it's true. We shouldn't be part of his personal life either. So that's good, and I hope people will remember that. Oh god. This question says that before, his Weibo before was really active and full of jokes and memes and interactions, but now it's basically gone, and it's like his image has become flat. And Xiao Zhan says he believes that social media cannot show the entirety of a person. It's only one side, and he wishes to communicate with everyone, but he's afraid of bothering people. I ranted about this before on Twitter, and it makes me sad how careful he has to be with everything. And even though he's so careful, people are still able to just find random problems with everything he's doing. Yeah. And the next question is, you're always careful with what you say and do, but some things just seem to be unavoidable. So Xiao Zhan says there are too many things in the world that are unknown or uncontrollable, so he can only do his best, and he thinks that action speaks louder than words. He says that it's normal that there are people who don't like him, and he accepts that. He respects everyone, but he won't go and try to win over the people who don't like him or change himself to fit their expectations or whatever. Oh. The reporter asks, someone said that you have a youthful feeling. You think that you are still a youth deep down? And he says that he believes everyone has a youth inside, and it's nothing to do with age or experience. It's just passion and curiosity towards the world and life. Yes, that youthful part of him is really what gets to me. And the final question, do you have any thoughts for your ideal life? And he says to live seriously, attentively, and to work well. Oh, this picture. This kind of picture is what I mean by it feels like he's separate and distant and not part of this world. But then you see pictures like this and you just feel like he's just a colorful person who's full of so much life. All of the pictures here, other than pictures of his dramas, they're all from the Our Song show, and I don't know if he purposely chose it like this, but he was so happy on that show. And I hope he'll always be so happy. Okay, so I went to dinner, but I was thinking about this interview for most of my dinner. And now I just want to express what I feel about this magazine. So I think that this interview, it's not for the haters or the fans, because the haters aren't going to read this interview and suddenly think, oh, I messed up, I shouldn't have hated or bashed this guy for no reason. And the fans who are crazy and did extreme things aren't going to read this interview and feel that they did something wrong either. The fans who are the crazy delusional fans, when they see something like this, they will either, one, not realize that Xiao Zhan is talking about them when he mentions fans who need to change their lifestyle, or two, they are going to think that Xiao Zhan is talking to them, but they will not think that they did something wrong, and instead they will feel that they must show their love even more. So in those aspects, this interview is really useless. But I think that Xiao Zhan, this interview is mostly aimed at the outside world, maybe people who only learned about him through the scandal, or people who are not fans or haters but are wondering what he's thinking, and he just wants to kind of reintroduce himself more firmly. So I think this interview was just for him to express what he truly thinks and make it clear what he thinks from now on. And I hope all Xiao Zhan fans will also be able to learn from his lessons. And yeah, thank you for watching this video.